This is Channel of We Rebuilding We, another production by Roadblock Prod of GGCTV. Found this the Devil's Punchbowl, remembered on this date in 1865. This post-American Civil War atrocity in black history occurred in Natchez, Adams County, Mississippi. As black slaves made their way to freedom, the town of Natchez quickly went from a population of 10,000 to nearly 100,000 people. To deal with the population influx of recent freedmen, a concentration camp was established by Union soldiers to eradicate the slaves essentially. Don Estes, former director of the Natchez City Cemetery, said, "So, they decided to build an encampment for M at Devil's Punchbowl, which they walled off and wouldn't let him out. The camp was called the Devil's Punchbowl because of how the area was shaped. The camp was at the bottom of a cavernous pit with trees on the bluffs above. The women and children were locked behind the concrete walls of the camp and left to die from starvation. Many also died from the smallpox disease. Over 20,000 freed slaves were killed inside this American concentration camp in 1 year. Black men were recaptured by the Union troops and forced back into hard labor." Researcher Paula Westbrook adds, "The Union Army did not allow them to remove the bodies from the camp. They just gave M shovels and said bury M where they drop. Today the bluffs are known for the wild peach groves, but the locals will not eat any of the fruit because some are aware of what has fertilized the trees." Estes said that during his studies, he learned that women and children were all but left to die in the 3 punch bowls. Disease broke out among them, smallpox being the main one. And thousands died. They were begging to get out. "Turn me loose, and I'll go home back to the plantation. Anywhere but there. One researcher has noted that skeletal remains still wash up when the area becomes flooded by the Mississippi River at the Devil's Punchbowl.
Concentration camps. People mostly associate the term with Nazi Germany, but historians say it's true. They also existed in America. During the Civil War, authorities in Natchez, Mississippi forced tens of thousands of freed slaves into camps built in what's known as the Devil's Punchbowl.
Untouched fruit falls to the ground near the banks of the Mississippi River.
They talk about there's the most beautiful wild peach groves down in the Punch Bowl.
And researcher Paula Westbrook says, like a peach, the area known as the Devil's Punch Bowl has a pit, a mass grave from the 1860s. Historians estimate that in 1 year, up to 20,000 freed slaves died in contraband camps below these bluffs.
When the slaves were released from the plantations during the occupation, they overran Natchez. And the population went from about 10,000 to 120,000 overnight.
So they decided to build an encampment for them at Devil's Punch Bowl, which they walled off and wouldn't let them out.
Don Estes is the former director of the Natchez City Cemetery.
I just put my own tombstone right there. You see Estes?
Learning history's been his life. He says Union troops ordered recaptured black men to perform hard labor.
Straight down right here.
While women and children were all but left to die in the 3 punch bowl prisons.
Disease broke out among them, smallpox being the main one, and thousands died. They were begging to get out. "Turn me loose and I'll go home back to the plantation, anywhere but there." But they wouldn't let them out.
The Union Army did not allow them to remove the bodies from the camp. They just gave them shovels and said bury them where they drop.
And I'd really like to show you more of this terrain, but it's just too thick with greenery. These bluffs are also straight down, so not only is it dangerous to navigate, it's still very mysterious back there.
It's a bed of alligators and snakes. It would take Indiana Jones to get back in there at this point.
Then you come on up washing away bluffs, and at the Devil's Punch Bowl that has so many people that no one knows how they got killed or when, and they're still down there wasted.
And even to this day, they talk about wild peach trees that come up down there but no one in Natchez will eat them because they know what the fertilizer was.
Exploring the unexplained on Mystery Monday, Jacob Kittelstead, WJTV News Channel 12.
And historians say even now people might discover old skeletal remains after flooding on the Mississippi. But being on the Natchez Trace, sometimes it's difficult to tell which century those bones are from.